Hello, everybody. My name is Jennifer Calderon Zavala, and I am going to be presenting you with my current study on the COVID-19 pandemic and adaptations to the return to in person instruction. I'd just like to thank Professor Johnson and the Baby Lab for being so supportive and helping me through this whole process. And let's get started. So, just an introduction, our study is focused on studying how students have adapted from the return to in person instruction after the pandemic. So, during the pandemic, there's been a lot of changes. Obviously, the instruction was moved online, and a lot of students had to adapt to that new format. And the question then becomes now that restrictions have been lifted, how have students adapted post pandemic? And with these returns to in person instructions and having lectures be in person instead of online and having exams in person as well, has that affected students? Has it caused more of a struggle with their lectures, with their tests? Has it affected their mental health? And most of all, our question just hopes to ask and find out if they have been getting the support that they need. So, our research questions has been first to ask if the in person learning restored students' pre pandemic productivity levels. So, as we know, before the pandemic, students were basically unaffected by the changes that were made. And so, our question is now, since the return to in person instructions, have students returned to their prior productivity levels? Has it gone worse? Has it become better? And all those questions just kind of leads into finding out if students still need further support now that the pandemic is essentially not as prevalent and not as risky as it once was. Students are now allowed to, attend office hours again. They're allowed to, make study groups. And the question is, are they benefiting from that? Are they still utilizing that? Or do they need additional support? That goes into my second question is, does age, ethnicity, and income also play a factor in adapting to the return in person? Do some students' ethnicity affect their ability to adapt to this change? Does it cause them to be at a disadvantage? And we're hoping to learn that from our proposed study that we're hoping to find out. So going into our methods section, so we did an anonymous questionnaire. We're going to do an anonymous questionnaire, and it has 30 questions, basically asking students about their ethnicity, their age, and their productivity levels prior to the pandemic and also after the pandemic, in hopes to create a comparison in order to see if anything has changed, if it's gotten worse or if it's gotten better. Um, these questions are basically asking what their productivity was like before the pandemic started, how many times did they go to office hours, what their GPAs were, and also adding these same questions to now. Are now that the restrictions are lifted, are they also going to office hours? Are they still, focusing on their classes, turning in their assignments, and is their GPA better than it was before? So all these questions we will be posting on the SONA system, and students will be able to get zero point 0.5 credits for completing the study. It should only take 10 to 15 minutes. And we're targeting undergraduate psychology students, and specifically they have to be 18 years or older and English speaking. So the measures and analysis that we're hoping to do is basically for the adaptation measures, we're hoping to do a t-test to just compare the pre-pandemic and post-pandemic analysis. And for the ethnicity measures, we're hoping to do an ANOVA to figure out the ethnic and income differences and if there was any significant difference. The results, unfortunately, our data is still ongoing and is undergoing analysis currently. But once we have the analysis, then we can start. So we're just doing data collection right now, ensuring that we have enough participants. And once that's settled, then we can start proposing our results. In the meantime, our anticipated findings is that we propose that participants will be their most productive prior to the pandemic when there was no change, and post pandemic, they will need more support. So, in doing this study, we're hoping to find more justification for support programs post pandemic. Um, there's been a lot of studies that have shown that students are, you know, struggling to adapt to the pandemic after lifted restrictions, but there's no evidence of that a lot. So we're trying to do this study in order to support that theory and continue doing research for students now that the pandemic has lifted its restrictions. So that's our study for this presentation. Thank you for talking with us. Contact us if you have any questions. And a special thanks to the Baby Lab, Dr. Johnson, and Props for allowing me to do this research. Thank you.